Good afternoon and welcome back to my channel. I'm sorry it's been a while since I've had a story for you, but yes, I've been kind of busy sorting out my paid work, and yeah, I suppose I've just slowed down a bit with the short story production. I will get back into writing more. I've just had a little bit of a slump, I guess. But I have come out with another short story based on 5 random words, as ever. And this one is story number 162. And it's called, sorry, forget the important bit. These are the words that it was based on, wherever they are. And this one is called Fish in the Sea. Oh, before I start, I apologise if there's disco music in the background, which is going to add a strange flavour to the story, but I live a few doors down from a nightclub that seems to have day events even in the rain. On the weekend. They're making the best of it. But in case you wonder what the strange hint of disco in the background, that's what it is. So here we go. Fish in the sea. I have a secret to tell you. I'm a 52-year-old man with a lucrative marketing consultancy specialising in online and social media content, a vintage Mercedes, 2 ex-wives, and I never gave up my invisible childhood friend. Albert the alligator, a creature I summoned from a pair of old pyjamas, is still with me. I imagine him slapping alongside, dressed in that peculiar manner he has of a leather jacket and shades, but no trousers. What would he do with his tail? I call him Albie for short, and I still summon him into being whenever I want to fantasize about tearing the ankles off some adversary or severing a client's jugular, without resorting to actual violence. Instead, Albie does the deed, finishing off his victim with a final undulation and one of his usual catchphrases, refined over the years. Well, that was a tasty little hors d'oeuvre. Now, what's for dinner? It's a control mechanism. My fantasies of evisceration and cascading arterial blood stop me revealing anything more problematic than a tightening of the mouth or widening of the eyes. I know, very Patrick Bateman. But I won't be waxing lyrical about the subtleties of Huey Lewis in the news. I prefer the kind of repetitive, shifting, shimmering modern music that both of my ex-wives hated. Philip Glass, Steve Reich, Goretzky's Third. It probably won't surprise you to know that much of the time I feel like a confused little boy trapped in a man suit. I'm constantly thinking, what would a normal person do? And then doing something else entirely. I project certainty, professionally, and my clients generally enjoy the increased traffic and revenue they experience once I've finished revamping their marketing strategies and online presence. With everything else, I'm a bit of a mess. Here I am, for instance, on a date, and a beach date no less. I should be filled with excitement, and I am looking forward to how the afternoon might progress, but I'm also rigid with dread as my flip-flopped feet slap across the golden sands on Viking Bay Beach. Don't sweat it, kiddo. She's a person, not a goddamn leopard. I imagine Albie chomping on a cigar as he delivers his pep talk. He's usually chewing on something, whether it's a steak, a stogie, or a femur. I know, I can't help foreseeing how it might end. Geez, keep on like this and I'm going to drag you into the surf and finish you off myself. Love to see that saltwater turn pink. Albie's threatening to kill me is commonplace. It's part of our banter. I spot Jennifer, never abbreviated apparently, from a couple of 100 yards away. Beyond the 4 kids playing a desultory game of beach volleyball and the bored-looking lifeguard. The sky has already clouded over at Broadstairs, and the beach at 7 p.m. is almost empty, although it's still warm. I'm in my shorts, and I'm determined to swim. Jennifer's elegant, slightly muscular form is draped in a black bikini on a pale blue beach towel. She's in better shape than either of my wives ever were. Hell, she's in better shape than I've ever been. I wave, and she raises a hand to shade her eyes, then waves back. Hi, thanks for not cancelling, I say. The weather, I add, pointlessly gesturing to the sky. No, it's great, she replies with a smile. I've been catching up on my reading. The paperback lies splayed somewhere in the middle, an author I don't recognise, Emily St. Aubrey, excessively ornate lettering, YA, or spicy romance. Cool, I say, feeling a little like a nerd from a 1980s American teen comedy. Shall we get this over with? I gesture at the sea. She frowns. Well, if you make it sound that enticing. I'm not sure she gets my sense of humour, or perhaps I don't get hers, since Jennifer jumps to her feet and strolls towards the sea, which breaks just a few meters away on the sharply sloping sandbank. "Go get her, cowboy," Albie mutters, as I imagine him settling his pale, scaly belly into the warm sand by Jennifer's towel. I drop my drawstring bag and unnecessary sunscreen onto the towel to stop it blowing away, kick off my footwear and trot after her. Jennifer is standing in the shallows, wincing at the water's icy bite. It's probably around 12 degrees, on the verge of unpleasant, but I'm the one who suggested it, so I march in, spreading my arms wide for balance on the chalky protuberances that lurk under the pale blue water. The sea soaks me inch by inch, and I swallow my urge to gasp at its coldness. "I am made of stone," I whisper, between clenched teeth. "You're crazy," Jennifer cries. "It's freezing." "Nah," I demur unconvincingly. "It's fine when you get used to it." I'm going to have to duck my head and shoulders under the surface. It's always more bearable once you've taken that step. I count silently to 5, then try to fool my fearful consciousness by ducking on 3. The familiar icy grip of cold water settles on my neck and shoulders as I rise back into the light. The sun is attempting to peek between masses of grey cumulonimbus. I squint over to where Jennifer is floating on her back, inert, almost as if Albie has had his wicked way with her. Another 20 seconds of this and I'm calling the Coast Guard. Jennifer tilts upright and laughs, swimming a few breaststrokes around me in a semicircle. Her shoulders are rather broad and muscular. I like that. I've never enjoyed the tepid embrace of overly slim women. "It's not at all bad, so long as you keep moving," she says, and her right foot taps my left pectoral as she passes. Unintentional, I'm sure. "It's warm, actually," I concur. "That'll be that extra 1.5 degrees. Jennifer frowns, the first warning sign. I ignore it. "Climate scientists say the Atlantic's a full 1.5 degrees warmer than usual," I add. "More than twice the usual seasonal variance." "Climate scientists say a lot of things," she replies with a wry smile. "Okay," I think, give her the benefit of the doubt. Her eyebrows are perfectly formed chevrons, thin rather than the marker pen stripes that seem fashionable with the young. Her eyes are a pale Aegean blue. She has Greek Cypriot and Armenian heritage. I know this from obsessively swiping through Jennifer's entire Instagram feed. A few too many yoga poses at sunrise and exhortations to try natural seaweed facials for my liking. She hawks organic beauty products as a side hustle. But plenty of photos of her in the revealing sportswear. Remembering my research is giving me a hard-on under the water. This is absurd given I have the actual living, breathing girl in front of me. "Cool your boots, man," Albie interjects, as I imagine him drifting languidly through the seaweed. "You're an alpha male, act like one." Am I fuck, I think, watching Jennifer rise from the surf and sashay back to her towel. I do a length and a half of the beach of my unimpressive crawl, cooling my ardour before I join her. Toweled dry, we break out the Prosecco I brought, cunningly wrapped in silver foil to keep it cool. The sun chooses that moment to emerge from its billowy boudoir. I have a moment of realization. I'm drinking Prosecco on a sunlit beach with a beautiful, accomplished woman with impressive muscle definition. So it ought to be impossible to feel anything other than joy and gratitude. And yet... So he's had both booster shots and he's only 24. Such a shame, putting that poison in healthy veins. I realise with a shock that I've been so busy building castles in my imagination, glittering edifices where I walk the terraces with my soulmate and our 3 perfect, smart, beautiful kids, that I've stopped listening to what Jennifer is saying. I decide to bluff it. Why a shame seems eminently reasonable to me. Jennifer laughs, as if I must surely be kidding. She waits for my expression to change. It doesn't. "Haven't you read the statistics about myocarditis?" she says. "There's this podcast." Ah, there it is, I think. The fly in the ointment. The blob of human feces in the bladderwort and aloe scrub. Jennifer has conspiracy brain. We don't need to talk about that, I suggest, waving away my own misgivings as much as Jennifer's mad monologue. "Tell me about the book." There's that frown again. I interrupted her. I've earned a black mark. "What, this?" she says, tapping the tatty paperback. "I found it on a bench over there. It's not very good. You can have it if you want." I pretend to peruse Midnight in Manhattan, trying to think of a more productive conversational avenue. A galaxy of possible openers elude me, so I read aloud at random. "He held me in an iron embrace all that summer, until sweaty Manhattan nights turned to balmy September summers, until my doubts melted away like gelato, until the Twin Towers came down. Until the US government brought them down, Jennifer interjects, irritated. Don't read that, it's trash. I agree, but I'm also trying to ignore what I'm sure I just heard. Don't tell me you believe those conspiracy theories. Jennifer gives me a withering look, as if I'm a child caught eating sand. I'm guessing you haven't seen False Flag 9/11. You should. It's enlightening. Oh God, here we go. Albie squirms restlessly by my side. Please let me take her by the ankle and drag her into the sea. No, Albie, I say aloud. That's odd. I've never done that before. I'm not aware of that particular documentary. Oh, it's on YouTube, the whole thing. 3 hours of it. I can't think of a movie experience I'd enjoy less. And I've seen almost every movie Nick Cage ever made, including Wicker Man and Left Behind. Think of it, 9/11, 911? That's the US Emergency Services Code. You think that's a coincidence? There are several possibilities open to me. Despite the fact that I'm not giving Jennifer the approbation she craves, I get the feeling she likes me. I could parlay this afternoon into an evening, find a local pizzeria, then walk her home. She might even ask me in. Paradoxically, I'm beginning to feel confident, because in truth, I no longer care. Sling her to the sharks, buddy boy, Albie mutters. She's a wrong'un. Harsh, I feel, but not entirely inaccurate. Jennifer's Instagram reveals that she hates the Tories and volunteers every other Saturday at a food bank. She's been nothing but kind to me so far. She'd probably offered to split the bill at dinner. Jennifer has a lovely smile with pearly white teeth that are sufficiently different to one another not to look tacky. It may be in my power to kiss her after dinner, walking home, or outside her house. She'd invite me in, perhaps, with the excuse of showing me her recent kitchen refit, which she designed herself. The possibility of sex, which I haven't experienced in almost 8 months, presents itself. An aviation fuel doesn't burn that hot, not enough to melt all those steel supports. I'm sorry, I blurt. Am I really going to do this? I pretend to look at a watch that I'm not wearing. It's an unconvincing mime, so I back it up by looking at my phone. I think I have to go. Jennifer's dumbfounded. A flicker of doubt has crossed her face, previously engaged and lively with evangelistic fervour. But I thought I know, but I have to go. Emergency. I seem to be standing up and jabbing my feet back into my flip-flops. I gather my things, heart pounding like I'm about to attempt a midnight flit from Colditz. Oh, okay then. I hope it's nothing serious. She sounds genuinely concerned, and I'm projecting raw anxiety. I feel terrible, but I know I can't do this. I can't join her in conspiracy heaven, where the forces of darkness rage around us, intent on subverting politics, science, law, and every vestige of security and comfort. I can't live there, and I definitely can't tell Jennifer this. I make my excuses, give her 2 unconvincing air kisses, 1 for each sculpted cheekbone, squeeze her shoulder awkwardly, and leave. My palpitations persist as I march with difficulty across the beach towards the zigzagging white steps to the promenade. It's difficult to storm away with dignity in flip-flops on soft sand. Calm down, dude, Albie offers, slapping through the drying seaweed beside me. Plenty more morsels in the ocean. He's right, of course. So why does every disappointment remove a piece of me I can't ever seem to replace? I thank you. And that story, sadly enough, is based on a recent experience I had. Oh, I've taken my microphone off, I don't know why. Obviously I'd changed the name, and I am not that character, but I did recently have a date with a bit of a conspiracy theorist, and I couldn't let it go on, really. Sad but true. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed the story. Remember to subscribe if you aren't a subscriber, like it, possibly even share it, and it would be amazing if you made a comment. Part of the reason why I guess I've stopped recording videos is because, let's face it, it doesn't seem that many people want to listen to short stories. But you do, and that's great. So thanks for listening. I appreciate your patience and forbearance, and have a lovely day, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.